The probability of us achieving victory here today is only 3%. And that's with me rounding up!
You hear that? Those are runaway numbers!
If we run, there'll be no one left to protect the city. Stand and fight, or die! You make the choice!
Shane, can you go on and talk about yourself and give us a background on everything about this book?
Okay, talking about myself, I hate that. I work as a sign writer, but I've always loved comics, and I've finally gotten off my ass and finished a series, 4 parts of Chronicles of the Wastelands. So I've got them here. Yeah, I've finally, after many years of doing bits and pieces for comics and illustration and murals and a lot of work for other people, I've finally done one just for myself. And it's 4 issues to get the whole story. It could be continued in the future. I left it open-ended. And as you can probably tell by the Mad Max clips at the start, it's set in the Wastelands. It's inspired by Mad Max. A wee bit of Masters of the Universe mixed in. And some people that reviewed it the other day said it reminded them of old Ninja Turtles. So that was unusual. I didn't expect that one. Okay, well, yeah, 4 issues of this. It's all obviously color covers on card. And the interior is black and white. It's just a. I didn't think the artwork actually needed color, but it also is a printing cost, being self-published and stuff. They're all still available, although I am running out of issues 1 and 2, and they have actually been reprinted twice, so it's doing better than I thought. You can get hold of most of the comics. I don't know if they all have number 4, but Heroes for Sale have been very supportive in Auckland. Mark 1 Comics in Hamilton has just come on. They've got a few in stock. Boom Comics, which is a new place in Invercargill, they've got a couple in stock. And in Christchurch, there is Pop Weasel and Ride On Super Sound. They have them in stock too. I'm not sure if they've sold out of any 1s and 2s, but they should have something there if people are interested. And obviously I sell them and ship them to people too, just straight from messaging me at ArtOfEvans. What else would you like to know? Is he gone? Are you gone, Aru? Okay, well, when I'm not making comics for myself after work, I also help run a small group. We're based in Whangarei called Make Comics NZ. It's just a bunch of people that sit around once a month and draw comics together. Just trying to encourage people to have fun, draw comics, do things that they enjoy. It's open to anyone, any age, and we normally we do it in the library in Whangarei. We normally bring supplies along for kids that have just show up randomly. Yeah, I do have some future work coming out with Funtime Comics in their next Funtime. I think they've just had one kickstarted, but it took a few months, so maybe in about 3 or 4 months there might be my one coming out with a fun sort of sci-fi robot short story in it, something different. It's a bit more light-hearted than my Chronicles of the Wastelands. As a person that illustrates things, it's quite difficult for me to sit here and talk about myself. So can you come back on, Aru? Right. Okay. Like I said, I've just wrapped up the 4 issues of my Chronicles of the Wastelands. So some more promo. And I'm now moved on to I'm going to try a horror crime story. So I've got a rough script for it, and I've been working out some of the character designs. It's not that far in at the moment, but I could probably show you a few of the head sketches that I'm mucking around with. There's nothing too offensive or anything in here. So just trying to work out the look of some of the main characters that are in it. So a lot of them will look the same because it's just a variation of the same character. And a couple more. Yeah, the next story will be either a 2-parter, just 2 issues, or a really thick one-off, maybe 48, 60 pages, maybe horror crime. I haven't worked out the title. It's just all the plot and stuff at the moment. I think I've run out of things to say already.
As long as everybody understood that it's taken you over 2 years to put it all together, right?
Actually longer than 2 years, but that's because I had some sketches from probably 5 years ago of the characters and stuff. And when I decided to do a comic, I went through all my sketchbooks looking for things that still appealed to me.
Yeah.
And then I remember listening to a writer who said, if you're going to write something and you're going to spend time on it, you've got to make sure it's a genre or something that interests you.
Yeah.
And I just know that I've watched Mad Max too many times and Master of the Universe too many times. I thought I can do that story because that's not one I'm going to get sick of. So.
Right. Well, it's going to be something that's going to be exciting to you, as you know. Otherwise, you won't stick with it. I've known a lot of people that won't stick with things when they start it if it doesn't interest them, and you kind of go, "Well, are you really sure?" Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comics look easy, but they're very time-consuming. So.
Yeah. Like seriously, yeah. I mean, like anybody can do a character. Like, oh, this is my character, or this is that, you know, and this is what it's going to do, and that. And it's like, well,
yeah.
But what is that character about? What's their background? Who's their family? Where do they come from? What makes them tick? Because all those things, if it's in your head already, then when you put it out, it's easier, right? And I think a lot of people just say, "Oh, look at this! It's such an easy thing to do." And there's people that, in the time that it's taken you to do 4 of these, that haven't even been able to do one and twice that time, which is like 4 years.
Yeah,
there's a person
one of those one of those pros that couldn't do that?
Yeah, those supposed
Yeah.
former pros, you know, going on to 5 years now, and they're not even able to take out one, but they work with a team. And this is what I
Yeah,
want
I
to
know.
really.
I think I know who you're talking about, and he should actually be
Yeah.
embarrassed because
Oh,
I mean,
but-
he's a professional.
Yeah, but I mean,
I
that's,
do this. I do this after hours in my spare time.
yeah, and that should be, you know, anybody who sucks off the teat of, and I mean in a good way, of crowdfunding, and because I'm one of those people, right? I'm one of those people who use crowdfunding, and I put my own time and effort into it. You know, we just paid a colorist on INCREDI-GIRL, you know, my own money, right, to color the book for me, right, and he was able to turn that coloring around in within a month. The colors alone, and this guy hasn't been able to get his you know, his artwork done on a single 22-page comic book in going on to 5 years now. And he's taken hundreds of thousands of dollars of American dollars, which is like 1.7 times New Zealand, of that to do that. And it should be embarrassing when you, who always has a full-time work, does paintings, you know, puts on, you know, goes to events, sells your work, gets commissions and everything, and on the time afterwards, you're there, pen and paper, you know, pencil and inks, putting together your book, and 4 of them, right? In 2 years, like, you know, when you're talking about actual going to print, because I know it's been 2 years since when you went to the first issue, and so on. And it's people, when they say they're pros, they're only pros to a limit when there's somebody watching over them, telling them, okay, now keep a move on, buddy. And that's something that I got to do with my artists, is like, hey, you guys all right today? How's things going? Getting a page in. Okay, let's go going. But was it hard keeping on? Because I know that's the toughest part about creating anything, is keeping on.
Yeah, the motivation is tricky, and especially when you get things like you're just sick of work, or you actually get sick.
Soon.
But the weird thing is, all you need is a couple of people at an event, or a couple of people that will email you and say they're enjoying the comic.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, it kind of spurred me back on, because I'm like, that's enough for me to, someone's actually paying their money to read my stuff. They don't have to. They could go buy Batman or Spider-Man or something, but they're actually buying it. Most of them are actually buying the second and the third one, so they're enjoying it. So that's a plus. The best story I've got, though, is actually one of my old co-workers. She's recently left. She did the administration.
Right.
She brought it for her kids, and it's quite violent.
Yeah, so I was thinking it's for kids, but like, I mean, parents, like, people know
there's
their
a couple of
members, right?
Couple of swear words in there. I told her that too, and she goes, "That's okay," because her husband's a proper Kiwi and swears all the time. So she's like, the kids have heard every word that you can imagine. She's got the best reviews because her son keeps coming in and pestering me for the next one.
Right.
And he apparently got caught taking them to school to show his friends. So I was like, that's fantastic. That made me so happy. Just to know this, like, 9 or 10-year-old was so excited about my violent, silly comics that he was showing it off to his friends. So that was quite a cool feeling.
And the cool thing is that, like, I mean, it's like comics is, you know, for us when we were younger, comics were like our drugs, like, you know, our fantasy escapism, like, you know, parents are like probably getting drunk and all that, hallucinating on that stuff or whatever. But we escape into our fantasies through, you know, through our stories that we read, through the TV shows that we watch, like with your, you know, Mad Max, and with He-Man and stuff. And so, I mean, with me, it was like Asterix and, you know, Narnia, and escaping into that. Do you, having, you know, you talked about how that's kind of inspiration for that. What do you think you brought from that inspiration into this, you know, when you were creating the worlds? Because they're not everything's not just like what's in the book, you know, in the movies or whatever, or the comics or that with Mad Max. But what was it that you thought that you could bring to it, and what was inspiring for you to bring to it?
That's tricky. What I brought to it, I actually kept the story quite simple because I think of myself more of an illustrator than a writer.
Right.
So I tried to keep it simple, clear. I tried to make it fun.
Yeah.
Because I thought, I want people just to read this and enjoy it. I'm not going to write anything deep and meaningful.
Yeah.
And I think you can actually add that into stuff anyway, because I think by issue 3 and 4, the characters are actually more rounded out.
Yeah.
And actually more important, but that's a gradual build, and I think that's fine. I don't think you need to try and jump in and create an entire world in one go. I think as long as you've got a couple of characters that you like, that people can like it and dislike, you've got to have a good villain. It's a very simple sort of good versus evil story, but I think I just added a tiny bit of my influences into it because, like I said, it's quite violent. Quite a bit of probably horror level violence, like Terrifier or something. Things that I laugh at that you shouldn't be. So it's got that sort of influence into it, like B-grade movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I like a bit of over the top rubbish.
Well, it's kind of more like not the realism of it, right, and just the fantasy side of things. I think because we have similar love for horror and stuff. But did you stop yourself at some point and go, well, this is going a bit beyond what I want in this comic book, and maybe it needs to be in some other comic book or some other story, and try to keep it rounded and have a boundary around what you want to do with the story? Because I know you said you're going to do 3 issues, right, and then expand it to 4.
It got to 4, but that was just talking with Rico and other people who had read it. I got Rico to help with the editing and stuff, just being a huge comic nerd that he is. It's basically the story felt too rushed being 3 parts. It just needed to be slightly, like I said, the characters developed a bit more in 3 and 4. But I don't think it actually, I had the ending planned out from the start, so I don't think it affected anything. All it did was change the pacing a wee bit. And I do think the pacing on the last one is how I wanted it, because it's like an action film, and the last one is basically all action. So like the third one is like the build up. So I think that's actually worked quite well, pacing wise.
I noticed you added some colors on this last issue. You went a bit,
not deliberately. That was a printing issue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't mind it because it's still monotone.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, like even with the green, it kind of like works with the with the character there, right?
Yeah.
So it almost feels like it should be there, and plus it's got that kind of like a. Is it my eyes, or is it pink as well in there? Kind of like a reddish looking, green red.
I think it's kind of got a greenish tint to it. I don't think there's much red in it, but I think it's like a warm grey almost.
Yeah.
It
feels like
it looks different on your screen too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if it's my eyes, but sometimes I can see 3D. It's weird, like red. Yeah. So
it's got a slight tint to it, but like I'm happy with the way that people have been printing it, so I'm not going to complain and ask for it to be redone. Like I think it looks pretty good.
It does. I mean, I like it. I think it's pretty cool to have that green and kind of like warm tone to it.
If it was a full color comic, I might have had a complaint because it might change all the skin tones and stuff.
Yeah. So talking about color, right? So we're in the past we've talked about how like if you put all 4 together and put it out as a trade paperback, are you thinking about doing that and going as a full color as a trade paperback now that all 4 are out?
I designed it in black and white. Like there's a lot of solid black and a lot of dark shadows and stuff. So I don't know if it would work in color unless it had the Hellboy type coloring where it was quite simple.
Yeah,
because
just solid tones.
Wouldn't need all the shading and all that sort of stuff. I think basically flat colors would work.
Yeah.
Or just leave it black and white.
I'm quite. I read number 1 and number 2. I didn't read number 3 because I knew number 4 was around the corner, and I was like, I'm going to make sure I get all of it and do it. Go back to number 1 and read it in one full setting. So don't do any spoilers because I just want to sit there. And that's why I wanted to do the unboxing, right?
One of the guys watching has just asked for your review.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm saying, well, you'll get one next, probably once I finish it, and I'll definitely do one. I mean, I quite enjoyed this. I love watching the process of it because if you guys were following Shane on his sevens on his Instagram and on his Facebook, you'll notice that he's been putting up pages all the time and showing you what he's been doing with it, and it's been really cool because not only is Shane, just doing that stuff, but they do a bi-monthly. It's like every second Sunday, Make Comics New Zealand event, right? So they do they have a gathering of people, and it's what is it about 30 now from a handful.
It really depends on the day. Like it's only once a month. Sometimes there'll be 6 of us, and then other times we've got to grab all the tables in the library because there's like 30 people. So it's whoever's around. That we get a few regulars, and then a lot of people just show up for fun. So, which is fine. So yeah, and we have a Facebook page, we've got people from Australia, obviously all over New Zealand, and we've got a couple of the expats that are like in Scotland and stuff that are following the page. So
that's it there, and you can see that some of the work that's people are putting together right now. You've got, if I can get this move.
You're having issues, aren't you, with your computer?
Yeah. So the most recent is this one here with Justin Young's been sent out, one of our fellow creators from New Zealand. He's just posted out his Kickstarter comics that he took. If you go and see the last stream, I think, or the one before, can't remember which one it was, that we interviewed him about this and about the Kickstarter. So you get to see his awesome comics. It's been sent out, so I'm expecting it tomorrow, I think, overnighting. But here you can see, what's coming, what Shane's been up to. These are all the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 4 twice. That's a back and forth.
Number 4, just back cover and front cover.
Right.
I'm just promoting the latest one for Armageddon. That's all.
Yeah.
And
so here's
some of the panels in there before the grey tones and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You can see the lines and stuff, just seeing it.
Yeah.
And of course, the page numbering, hand paint, inked, and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the painting for the cover, right?
Yeah, that's actually markers, pencil, and a tiny bit of paint.
Yeah. Look at that.
Just mixed media.
Well, your palette.
Influenced. Yeah, that's influenced by the famous Todd McFarlane, Wolverine and Hulk.
All right. Yeah, I get you now.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's that. That's what you'll find when you go check out their page. But you've got other artists there as well. You've got Robert E. Jordan. I always keep thinking of it, Robert E. Howard. But it's Jordan.
This one's got a very good manga feel to his stuff. And it sounds like he's got quite a few pages done now. Might even have a book coming out. So and you've got Dylan Horrocks advertising something just above there. Yeah.
So there's something happening on late on tonight. So we won't be too long today because we're just doing an unboxing, and we've talked with Shane for a while before, and so gosh.
But for a New Zealand comics place, Dylan is, if you know comics, he's probably one of the most successful New Zealanders.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he worked on Batgirl, if I remember right. One of the
and also just his own Hicksville and stuff like that he did for himself. Another thing about magic, he might have done something about magic.
Right.
He's done quite a few.
Okay, so I was look at as you can see, there's it's skull.
Yeah.
It's got little skulls on it. So one of the things is Shane actually works at a printers. Not printers, what's it? Screen printers.
Sign
That's right.
writers.
Sign writers. And
Yeah,
so
doesn't help for printing the comics, but it's good for
No.
stickers and other stuff.
So what happened was, like, I actually bought 2 sets of each time he printed one out, one signed and one unsigned. And so then he went and put out a bloody box, right? Which kind of annoyed me because I was like, I've already bought 2 sets, but I also want the box, because it's a box set and it's going to have all these other stuff in it. And so, and then I read on and it said, well, you each get a hand sketched ink, little print. And so this is my one, and they're all individual, right?
20 different ones,
yeah. So it's one of one.
All different characters and stuff. A couple of repeats from different angles, but everything's original.
And it's really, I mean, to be honest, if you got one of these, it's worth it, right? Did I get number 3 or number 2? I think we wanted like a number.
It's on the back of the box.
Right. I got number 2. So I was the second one. As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, I got to get it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, your friend Rico beat you on that one.
Yeah. Well, because he knew he was coming, didn't he?
It was his idea and someone else's. So.
Yeah. So this is really awesome, man. Like having all these stickers as well. That's really good. Of course, promoting the group page that we just saw before, which is Make Comics New Zealand. But look at all these little cool things, right? All these little cool stickers and all the designs and stuff. I love, as you guys know, I love Shane's work.
So that's some of the images colored.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. That's what I was like hoping that, like, if if your comic is colored, then it'll be awesome to see it all like that.
Yeah.
And I think, I because you've already got them. You've already got them colored, so we can see them.
Did some extra. Those are originals too. They haven't been used before, so those are just for the box.
Right. Yeah.
And one of them is by Chris, who comes to the Make Comics group.
Right.
He did a pin up for me too. So this will be the next one.
Very good. So we got 3 pin-ups, and that's what I mean. Like, and a sketch card, original sketch card. So there's 1 of 20. And it's like 1 of 1, I should say, not 1 of 20. And then, so this is Chris Hansen.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the group members.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
He does his own little mini comics that he hides around Whangarei.
Right.
Like he just prints them out and just hides them randomly. So they're random little stories. They're quite funny.
Just trying to see if I've doubled up on this or not. There we go. So then we've got the 4 issues. And this is in the box set. And it was like $50 for the box set? Or was it 70? I can't remember.
50.
So honestly, like these like $10 each. And then you got all this other stuff. And it's like worth it alone. Like
I think Heroes might sell them for $12 each.
Yeah. But I mean,
but that's fine because they pay a good price to get them. So
yeah. But I mean, that's just retail is the way it is. But like, I mean, if you this is awesome.
Plus,
I mean,
they've supported me from the start, so I'm not going to hassle them. They're awesome people.
Well, I mean, comics at $10 each is, or $12 or even $15 is nothing these days.
Well,
like
some of the mass-produced ones at $12. I'm like, really?
Yeah, or 15.
What shit paper.
And not only that, but the fact is, there's like about 10 pages of advertising in them.
Yeah, that's true. I read one recently, and it was I think I counted 9 pages of ads in a 24-page comic. I'm like, that is crap. I'd be able to do way more comics. Much quicker if I only did 10 pages of ads.
And the other thing is, I notice on them there's hardly any text. So it's like, it's just I'm a story, I'm a reader, so I read comics for reading. So I want to, spend time on that page. So it kind of, I like to have a lot more story on the page than like 2 friggin' little sentences on a page. But I love your I love the way you're doing it. And the other thing is, like, your bubbles are like totally, different to anybody else as well. So everything about this is just so different.
Just trying something different, seeing if it works. Yeah, and like you're saying, it's like some of those magazines, some of the books only have, 16 pages of art. My first issue actually has 4 bonus pages.
Right.
And I think issue 4 is either, I'm trying to remember, I drew it, but I can't remember. It's either 28 or 32 pages of story, plus a couple of extra pages.
Plus, you got covers on the back and front, which is pretty cool because it gets to see all the different characters and stuff. So there's a bonus from issue 1.
A couple of guest artists on a couple of those inside covers.
Yeah. What else we got? There you go. Some characters. So like pinups and stuff.
So yeah, I put some of my working sketches and stuff in there.
Yeah. It's always cool because, like, I mean, like you said, the 9-year-old kid, was, read it and stuff and showed his friends. And you can see that, that you get to see the development of the comic page, right? Yeah. Rather than just like, oh, here's the final piece. That they get to see the process and how far, how far it went. So, understanding comics, just understanding the game, I should say, just said, I wonder if he gets the rare. I didn't, did I? Is that what you're saying? No. I didn't. So what? There is one, and how did it happen, and where is it?
I don't think I put one in there. I think I refrained myself.
Or you could have. It's me, man.
I probably would have spent longer on that one. So.
Right. So yeah, I mean, honestly, for 4 issues each, they're coming even at $12 each, easy, right? And plus you're supporting someone local, and not only just the fact that you're supporting local, it's quality comic book, quality art, quality storytelling. Like we were talking about the paper, it's not cheap crap, right? I like having a hardcover comic because you're always handling it, and you don't want to leave, you're afraid to leave fingerprints, and like with the mainstream ones, you always end up going, oh well, is this going to rub off? And there was a time where the ink actually
some of them are
off.
on that, like some of them are on that magazine stock that like wrinkles by itself. That's that really pisses me off. Like it looks like it's wet.
I put
like damp.
Yeah, I bought a $20 variant, and it arrived damaged, just crinkled, like on its own, just by traveling, it arrived that way. But because the paper isn't that good paper. But the other thing is, like, I mean, you get all these cool stickers. I mean, I don't usually put stickers anywhere because I just love to keep them because I've got collections of them. But it's like, because if I had a laptop, they'll be on my laptop. But my one's broken, so I don't use it. But like,
well, I did a few extra, so I've got them on
sweet
and stuff.
But yeah, man, like this is like the best thing. And here's the other thing about this. You could go out and get a really full on, spend like a couple $100 designing one, because I remember spending $100 designing for a 6th issue, a slipcase, and it came up to like something like that. Gosh, it was going to cost me about $15 for the slipcase each one. And I just like, nah, I don't even bother. But the cool thing is, these are like ready-made boxes, so you don't have to worry about things for stationery. But because Shane's able to do the printing, you got the stickers, you got the cover on, the main one. But then also you got a little printout in the back with the sketch as well.
Sign it,
yeah, and numbered. So one of 20.
There's actually 3 covers too, but they're just all different blood spatters. So.
All right, excellent. So the other thing is, because I bought like 2 copies of each previously, and with this one of these will end up in the hands of one of my music friends from America, and another will end up with the hands of my publisher in America. So I've just been waiting to get them all out and then box them up, because I got to send off other stuff. And so I was like really actually, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that's in there, to be honest, because I only thought it was just going to be like a sketch, one-off sketch, and then the 4 covers. And for $50, that's freaking brilliant, to be honest.
I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it to sell comics.
Yeah.
So, because it's New Zealand, you're not going to make a living selling comics here. But if I can sell as many as I like, that's the part. Like I said, I've actually reprinted issues 1 and 2, so quite happy because someone said you'd be lucky to see the amount I printed.
Yeah.
And I've gone back for reprints, so I'm actually pretty feel like it's gone okay. Pretty happy.
I think, but the other thing is that like it's completed, right? It's you got now you've got 4 issues. You've set your goal and you've completed your goal, and now you went beyond that by releasing it as a box set as well. I think it's just it's amazing, man, because like I think within 2 years putting your heart and soul into it, as we mentioned, a lot of people don't even start, or they think it's easy and give up after 1 issue. But it's really awesome to see you come all the way through and then to box it up. That's why I'm like hoping that if you do a, even if it is black and white, right? If you do get to a point where you can say, well, I want to do a trade paperback, right? And get your printer, right? Nizon Comics, right? To put it as a graphic novel, I reckon it'll be easy going, because I think people who have already bought it will still buy it again as a trade paperback to hand out to people to read, while keeping the single issues, like me, who's a nut for single issues, would keep that. But I think there's a lot of people, I think it's a mature, it's not a all ages book. It is kind of like a mature readers, because there are some titties in there, and and there are some swear words.
Yeah, I call it an immature readers book because it is violent. It has swear words occasionally. I took out a lot of swear words.
Yeah.
I actually there's a couple of in jokes about swear words, like on the first page of issue 2.
Right.
Because people had talked about the swearing in it. I put a in joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, because it's a light-hearted story, so that's why I say it's for immature readers. Because it's like when you watch a bad horror movie, and it's silly and fun, but it's also violent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's an in joke there.
Is that in focus?
That was actually directed at Stu at Heroes for Sale.
Yeah. I think. But, yeah. I mean, Mad Max isn't a kids read anyway, or kids watch. But I remember Dad, I think I first watched Mad Max when Thunderdome came out, and my dad is a huge Tina Turner fan, like music wise, the whole 70s and 80s and stuff. And so when that came on, we watched it on VHS, and I was like really into it. And then there's others, and so we watched the others as well, right? The first one and the second one, and then Thunderdome came out with the third one. Because Mad Max, the one I can't remember.
In New Zealand, Mad Max 1 came out after Mad Max 2 because it was banned.
Yeah.
But by the time number 2 came out, they'd released, they'd mellowed out on the restriction. It's because of one scene in the movie. There's a scene where they light his partner on fire.
Right.
When Goose flips a car and they light them on fire.
Right.
A crime like that actually happened in New Zealand at the same time with a policeman and a gang. So they were like, "This is too realistic at this particular time."
That wasn't in Moro, was it?
I'm not sure where it was, but the cop didn't get burnt alive or anything, but they were trying to. So they're like, "No, we don't need to encourage this right now."
Yeah, no, I can see why that happened.
It suffered from bad timing. I mean, it is a full-on movie, but that was the reason it got banned over here. So
I didn't know that. It's just new to me. But I was trying to figure out, is it 2 with the my favorite part is with the silver boomerang, right? When he goes up and the
number
finger.
2, the Road Warrior.
That's my favorite one out of all of them. Because I was trying to figure out which always sticks to my head, and that has got to be the one. And so I think Thunderdome, and then I saw that one, and that was it. It was because I think that's when I started making boomerangs, learning how to make boomerangs, because I watched that. I was like, yeah. Because after that it was because I'm trying to figure out my time, my years, and because I know we lived in Kaikoura when we were doing stars, in metal work.
Ninja Stars?
Yeah, Ninja Stars and metal work class. And then when we went to Moroa, I think that's when, maybe around 5 is when we returned to Morawa, and then they had then the Boomerang came out. But yeah, number 2 was awesome, man.
Yeah, number
Yeah.
2 is probably like Fury Road and number 2 are probably the closest together. Like they're
Yeah.
both kind of the same sort of story, you know.
Yeah. Now we know there is a podcast on soon, which we're alluding to earlier, and I'm going to put that up here so you guys can go check it out as well, because I think it is for, especially if you're a Kiwi and you want to see what the world's doing and talking about when it comes to New Zealand comics.
Yeah, I think it's in France or something.
There's a lot of
I think it's a European comic conference or something, which is, they're a bit more open-minded. They take it a bit more seriously than the Americans do. So
yeah.
it's
All right,
more of
so
an art form.
okay, so this is what's giving me here, and you can actually let me put that on screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Share, present, screen. So this is the conference, right? Conference Literature Disney Aotearoa New Zealand, right? So Lambert Bethel. Okay, Bartholomew.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in France.
So this is the meeting, and so you guys can actually join this live event that's going on soon. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's at the same time, but we weren't going to talk much about this. I mean, take it too long because we've already discussed this series, but I just want to do the unboxing, talk a bit more about the process of this, of the creation of this and how long it took and stuff. Now, next weekend you're going to be in Auckland. So if you people in New Zealand are watching this again, if you're going to Auckland, Armageddon, Wintergeddon, because it's winter.
Just on Saturday though.
Right. So you're going to be a one day event. You'll be at the New Zealand comics page, right? I mean, like that's these guys.
Creators,
yeah. So if you see that little symbol, that's where they will be. He will be. Now, there are also other people that will be there from New Zealand comics creating team, right? Please do support them.
Table full of books,
yeah. And look, even if it's not your thing, maybe think about maybe somebody else likes it as well. Like, it's not like just because you may not like what's there, you can always buy something as a gift for somebody else to give out to. I mean, because you're sharing other people's creation. And a lot of people say, well, how do I support? Well, that's the way you can support as well, by actually putting your money down rather than going to spend another $5 or $20 on another retelling of a retelling of a retelling of a retelling of a Batman story or a Wolverine story or a Deadpool story. Go grab a local comic creator's work or artwork or a button or a sticker or a sketch. There's so many amazing talent around New Zealand that I'm like, every time I see it, I get blown away. And I just love, hearing from those guys. Like we said, Justin Young just put his, his kids, was it all ages book? Did you already get yours?
Yep. It's a superhero book, so it's unlike his horror books, this is for everyone. I'm not going to open it up and ruin the ending or anything because I haven't read it myself yet. I got it today, so.
Like, is the interior in color or is it black and white?
It's color. It's full color.
Awesome.
It's very bright and colorful, so it's definitely a superhero style book.
Right, and he's self-published as well.
Yeah, definitely aimed at kids more than his other stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So thank you everybody that's been watching. We'll catch you on the next one. But thank you, Shane, for taking a Friday night out to come hang out with us.
Yep. Hopefully in about 3 or 4 months we'll be talking about my first issue of my horror book.
That's what I was going to ask, and then I'm going to move on to we talked about France, and I was like, that's great. So you are doing a horror book?
Yeah, I showed some sketches while you were fixing your computer.
Right.
So you probably didn't see those.
Okay.
I've got the basic plot down. I'm working on the script, and at the moment I'm designing the main 4 or 5 characters.
Excellent.
So there'll be more than that, but the main story is just 4 or 5 people.
Right now, so how long is it? Have you decided how long it's going to be with the script and stuff, or are you writing as you go along?
It's so far I'm up to. It's probably going to be about 48 to 60 pages. So it might be 2 issues or 1 really thick book. I'm trying to decide that.
Yeah, so just maybe a standalone trade.
Yeah,
square bound.
or it will be a 2-parter, and I'll actually write that on the cover, so you know that you don't have to invest thousands of dollars to get the whole story.
Yeah.
So that's some of the sketches. And I'll do another page. These are me just working out characters. And one more. People have seen this already, but hey.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, hopefully in 3 or 4 months that will be done. I would have been further along, except I got sick and it actually threw me off for about 3 weeks.
Yeah. So. All right. So we'll catch you on the next one. Have you got anything else to say before we finish, or
yeah, if you're interested in the comics, I'll be at Armageddon. You can get them at Heroes for Sale, Boom Comics in Invercargill, Mark 1 in Hamilton now, Pop Weasel and Ride On Supersound in Christchurch. Obviously, you can get them from me if you go to ArtOfEvans and we can work out postage and stuff, or you can get it at Armageddon.
Yeah. And now, because all 4 are done, it'll be, postage-wise and all that will be really good if you're from overseas.
Well,
if you aren't interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's only a couple. I personally only have a couple of issues of number 1 and 2 left, so you may have to get those from other people. First in, first served on that, because, like I said, those have been reprinted several times already.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just.
So how are your comics going?
Oh, we're going good. I mean, like, I haven't been been talking about them for a while because I've been ill. Like, throat's been like messing up, nose running. That's what, But we've got we're on to issue 2 of Zolandia now, because we decided to color number 1, and so the Joachim, who's the artist from Sweden, he's coloring number 1 while doing number 2. And he's inking and penciling at the same time, so that's pretty cool. One of my artist from Argentina, Luis, from Brazil, he for ages he's been having a problem with his tooth. Like, we didn't even know what's his tooth. He's been having migraines, massive migraines, his eyes and everything. And so we've been like talking about this for like probably 4 or 5 months now, saying, hey man, try this, try that, because we just thought it was migraine, because I get migraines all the time. And then turns out, like 3 weeks ago, he found out it's actually his tooth. So he had like x-rays done and surgery, had to get surgery done. I saw the images, it was crazy. And had to get stitches, and so next week he'll get the stitches out. So he hasn't been able to do anything for about a month because of that. And I really feel for him, because I know, because I go through pain all the time, so I understand when people go through pain. I go, yeah, I get it now. And so I saw he's been just trying to sort that out, and having tooth surgery is the worst. Like anything else, you're like, oh yeah, it'll settle itself. And like when it's your mouth, it affects the whole body. I mean, the whole head.
I had a wisdom tooth that got infected and cracked the other one behind it.
Yeah.
And I literally wanted to headbutt a wall because my headache was so bad.
Yeah.
I actually went to an after-hours dentist because I got so desperate. I'm like, I paid extra to get it yanked out.
Yeah, I found out like I had my x-rays done last week, Thursday last week, so a week ago, and found out this one here has been affecting me. And then so that's what might be causing the whole problem with my face, my eyes, getting sore, my nose leaking all the time, sore throat and ears. And it's when you get old, you're like, you just, this is going to be part of my sort of life. I've just turned 52, and you're next week you're going to be what, 52 as well?
Tomorrow.
There you go. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Because I knew it was coming up
So,
because like it's the week after. But yeah, so I have your gifts already because like, you know, there's only 2 people I give gifts to outside my family. So the other thing was with my other artist in France, like he's just moved from his one job with his partner because they, you know, they're from Argentina. Yeah, they're from Argentina, so they're like, you know, working in France and Europe. So they spent 3 weeks moving to another place to work.
yeah,
So they just move around seasonally, which is really cool, man. Like I get to see the photos of these guys living, you know, experiencing their OE as such over in Europe, and like really, you know, everywhere they go, they get to enjoy the the Chronicles of the Tooth Fairies. Yeah, pretty much. You know, I toothache is the worst thing in my life that I can think of, and I suffer from pain 24/7, but toothaches are the worst, man. So, and then we finished INCREDI-GIRL #2, got it all inked, and all I got to do is get a touch up on one cover that I've just completed the color flatting on, so that's sorted.
yeah,
And then once that, you know, get this guy to finish that off, and that, or everything on that is sorted. But we've got, you know, we've got 5 comics coming out at the same time because of the same thing we spoke about, you know, having all your 4s there, freight. So I thought, like, what we'll do is consolidate everything into one single Kickstarter, which means people can get 5 comics in the same post at the same time, rather than having to pay for 5 times postage for each comic we put out. And that's kind of like I'm kind of afraid that people go, oh yeah, you know, we'll have to wait another 5 years for the next one. But I'm like, no, #2's all starting work on, you know.
yeah,
And that way you guys know that when we, you know, if you're following us on Plunge, you know, when we talk about that, this is for your benefit. It isn't for us to try to like make money off it, because we know that you guys will just buy 1 comic off each one, or 2 comic, and that'll be it. Whereas if we did like a single comic with 5 issues, then we could make more money. But like in the end, I'd rather you have people happy with what we put out than to be do I have to pay freight 5 times to get a comic? And I was like,
the
nah,
international postage is nasty.
$30 for 1 single comic to get to me. It's like, what if I do 5 comics and it's still $30? So it's like you only pay $5 postage. Yeah.
I was eyeing up a whole lot of graphic novels from France, from this place called Mansion Press. They do some crazy, not safe for work, bonkers type comics. And I was like, I'm going to get a whole bunch. And then they had a big sale.
Yeah.
So I thought, right, now's the time. And it was about $150 worth of books, and the postage would have been $110.
Yeah.
So I cancelled that order.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wanted those books too, but not for double the price.
Yeah. And that's the thing when you don't have like their publishers releasing their books in the country. And if they did, then it'll be easier. And I think in a sense, I have, you know, I'm kind of like grateful actually for Rising Sun Comics, who's actually in America, able to get our comics into the hands of people in America, into the stores in America, and you know, and without me even having to worry about, hey, what's it costing, you know, or how do I get my product over somewhere else? And I think that's something that, like, if you know, I think maybe if you do the trade, that's something you might have to look at, is like, how do we set up somebody to do that for us, right? And go, hey, can we do a deal to get your book over here, or can you just print it yourself, you know, my book, and then just give us whatever I need, you know, whatever the percentage is, you know, cut off the top, and you get all the book out to people and stuff. I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about in the end, like how to actually get comics to people's hands, you know, once they made it, because that's the most difficult thing. It's not not the most difficult thing, but like, it's just as important. Once you've made it, like, you know, once it's there, how do you get it across another country, you know, without having to print book payment there? I think in the indies, I think it's easier for us to just, hey, look, man, how about, you know, I'll distribute your comics here, you distribute my comics there. And that way,
I know a lot of people offer PDFs and stuff like that, but most comic fans, they want the real thing. They don't. Looking at a laptop is so different than having a comic in your hands. I still can't do it. I mean, I try and read stuff that I can't get here.
Yeah.
I still can't do it. I sometimes get halfway through it and just stop. It's got to be a fantastic one for me to put up with it being on the screen.
Or you're committed to it, right? Because you started and you're into it, and something's going to, you're waiting for the next
Pretty
story.
stubborn. I'll still snap it off if it's if it's just annoying me.
Yeah.
I don't have enough time. Got my own comics to do. I'm out of here.
How much? You're going to next week. You're going to Auckland. So have you got artwork to take as well, or pin-ups and all that?
No, I'm just going to take a few issues of number 4 because it's a shared table, so you can't sit there and sell your own stuff. I don't pay for the table, but they've paid for it. I'm helping man it that day.
Yeah.
I'll sell anyone's comics that are on the table because they're all New Zealanders, so I don't care. If they don't like my style, they'll probably like something else. Yes, they do. Last time I was there, they had a wide range of styles, so there was always something there for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I grew up a bunch, and I think I just love the fact that now we're getting to a point where we're in New Zealand, people are doing quality products, whereas before it was really cheap and nobody cared, and so nobody cared, but the fact is that they didn't have the money to do it. Now people are more committed to their medium, right? Really, really they see this as a very important thing to them, and so they're putting effort and time into making sure the end product is just as good and as good looking as anybody else's, because that's something that I'm really keen on, is that making sure the product looks good, because you're competing with the big, the mainstream. So if your product isn't as good, then people aren't going to treat you with respect. And the worst thing you want to do is come as a little country like New Zealand and have your fellow creators not being treated with respect because you looked bad, your work looked bad. And it's like, buy New Zealand comics. Like, well, what, that? I think we've gotten to a point where we're able to stand by each other and say, yeah, that's a good book. Buy this book. The work and the time and effort is great. I mean, you were talking about Dylan Herrock's earlier, right? You've got Dylan Herrock's. Aunt Sam just put out a kid's book, right? Something totally different. He did the artwork for somebody else. You've got, and plus his own work, right? Ant's own work is amazing. And, we've got so many awesome people in New Zealand that create comics, and I'm so proud, to be one of those people who is next to them anywhere at any time to say, hey, these are my fellow creators. I'm glad to be part of what they're doing. And the other, one of the other fantastic things is that being able to be at an amazing venue like Armageddon at any given time to showcase your work next to everybody else's. Is there anything that you're planning to do while you're there?
Spend.
Yeah.
There's a couple of places there that have old retro comics and stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna go there and look for all the weird, bizarre stuff. I'm not interested in Batmans or Spider-Mans or anything. I'm interested in stuff that was insanely creative and slightly bonkers, for influence.
Oh, I had to get up because I wanted to show you something that I thought was really cool. I picked this up for $3 at I think it was Hospice or Salvation Army yesterday. But this reminded me of my own Zealandia kind of work that that Joachim is doing. This is like a fantasy pirate book, but it's like kind of like what do you call like South American manga.
Yeah.
It's got that kind of look to it.
Yeah.
It's manga, but it's like South American. And I know because I've got one of my artists is from Argentina, and he's doing manga for me. But look at the art style on that, the line work, crazy dragons and stuff. So this is called Sea Serpent's Hair. It's come out of I'm not sure what it's come out of. Oh, it's come out of Image, Skybound Image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think they're doing a whole series of them, but like don't even. let me see. So it's got, yeah, there are many graphic novels basically. It's it's pretty small compared to a comic book, right? So I think now Skybound has gone into
they are probably aiming at the manga type market and the youth. What is it? The YA novels and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I always pick up the secondhand books of these because I love seeing the different art styles that that are around. The artist from here, where is it? I think I saw his name. Is it earlier or later? I think he's from Argentina. Where was it? I want to do one of these for Zealandia, like a map and everything. So I always, look for things like this in comic books because of that. And
yeah, well, go check out your old Conans. They normally had maps in them.
Yeah. So Pablo Tunica is the name of the artist on this. All right. So, and they did, I think, looks like this might have been a series, and then they put it into this. So it's 1, 2, 3. Hold on. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 issues. Nope.
I think they normally do at least 4 issues. I think.
Yeah, I think this is 4 issues, but this is must be the covers for them.
Yeah, I think most of them are 4 or 6.
Yeah, and this is book 1. So yeah. Haven't read it yet. Wait. I lost my mouse, so there you go. Yeah, there you go. Congrats, dude. Chris is onto it. How's it going, mate? Yeah, so do go check out this here. This is a French event on Right pretty soon, straight after we finish here. It's called the
don't try and say it.
Yeah, I won't try to say it. It's this thing here. So all right, that's us. I think that covers us.
If it's by Dylan, it's probably about writing comics. He's more of a writer than an artist, although he does draw quite well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you everybody, and that's us for tonight. Thank you, Shane. We'll catch up soon. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Sorry if I bored you when the screen was black for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, we had technical issues at the start, so I'm going to cut that out when we do a restream. But yeah, thank you. Have an awesome time next week at Armageddon, Wintergeddon in Auckland. If you guys are in Auckland and you want something to do, go check it out. Just to support. I know it's a bit expensive now. Is it $40 now, or is it like still 20?
I didn't pay last time. I don't know. I was working on the stand.
I think it was $40. No, 20. Was it? Might have been 20. I can't remember. It's been a whole year. But just Chris. Also, if you're in Auckland, if you're outside Auckland, think about going up. Do go out to Armageddon. It does cost a lot to put on those events, man. Like honestly, putting on something like Armageddon costs a lot. That's why the fees are what they are. So I never actually worry about paying that much to go to Armageddon. I'm a bit ill at the moment, so I won't be going. But in case I spread it. But the other thing is, do support your local, events as well, whatever they are, wherever they are, because it's always tough, and especially right now, it's actually tough for small businesses to, pick up after all the hardships of the last few years. And support your local creators. If you're going to little events locally, community events, do support them because everybody's working hard and nobody sitting on their hands and doing nothing. But thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shane.
Cool. Thank you.
Cut it down, everybody. Get you all on the flip side. Bye for now.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.